If you want to overload your adrenal functions, go grab some coffee. Otherwise, grab a cup of tea because today I'm going to amuse you with a personal story of my life. So, back in February 2020, I was locked inside my apartment as usual, judging all the people that were celebrating Carnival in my city. For those who don't know, I live in Northeast Brazil and my city can gather up to 6 million people in Carnival every year. I was judging them as usual and thinking about that disgusting rain that comes over my city a week after Carnival. And I was just wondering how infected that could actually be. I had worked for that entire year, a year and a half, more or less, as a patrol for my city in Brazil. All I could gather on my savings account, and I am super economical. I'm not a kind of woman that spends with clothing, bags, shoes, makeup, none of that. And a year and a half working my ass off, beating the thugs and the violence and getting occasionally hurt and very stressed up was $320. And I was also thinking, how the fuck am I going to fucking change my fucking life like that? And a month later, I was just mesmerized with the economical crash that we had due to the pandemic, and everybody was talking about COVID, and I was just looking at all the prices of everything just going down like a motherfucker. And then I said, hey, I've always wanted to buy some Bitcoin. So right now I could just get that fucking shit, fucking goddamn motherfucking savings account and just put it all on cryptocurrency. How about that? Yeah, and then I did it. Some weeks later, Bitcoin just went higher as I expected it would because I was just thinking it makes no fucking sense that everything is going down because of a pandemic. I mean, can't you see that a lot of sectors are going to bloom out of that? The first thing I thought was stuff like Netflix, stuff like iFood with delivery systems, and everything that actually you can enjoy out of your house is going to go very fucking well, especially cryptocurrencies. This was my first thought. I got it all. I could just get broke. But actually, I just have fucking $300. I mean, what the fuck can I do with that? Buy myself a freaking Alexa speaker? Buy myself chocolate in 2026? So I thought, well, fuck that, bought Bitcoin. A few weeks later, Bitcoin went up. I sold Bitcoin. Bitcoin went down. I bought more Bitcoin. Bitcoin went up. And that was my system. I knew nothing on TA. I knew nothing on trading. But I was doing so well that I thought, yeah, it's time to learn, woman. And then I started to learn. And people were so patient trying to explain to me, although I didn't understand fuck by that time. But while people were crying around here because they could not snore cocaine and make orgies on groups anymore, and a lot of people were complaining about wearing masks. Oh, you can't breathe. I was just like studying, and I learned to do TA. And nowadays, my $300 and I'm buying the shit out of cryptocurrencies and a lot of other assets right now. I'm going to show you my charts and some data. I don't have a pro account on Glassnode, but I know some dogs that do. And check on that. A lot of people are like expecting Bitcoin to drop more 30 or 50, even 60%. People are talking about Bitcoin getting to $6,000, $12,000. And that right now, my friends, the only thing I can tell you, with the short experience that I have, but with the great vision that I've always had, and I know I did. I'm a woman of vision. I see everything holistically. And the place I come from, it squeezed me to be a fucking loser. And I still resisted, and the only weapon and the only tool that I've ever had was my vision. And that's all I can put to you on the table right now. If you, especially if you, are trying to get into any assets, anything that can possibly change your life if you want to buy it now and sell it later. I would strongly suggest any of the great success altcoins or Bitcoin or actually stocks from companies that will perform well with the futuristic scenario, considering everything we're living right now. I made this channel in order for me to go and hint you with my visions, and that's all, because that's all I can do. You cannot trust me as a financial advisor, of course. I don't have a degree on economy, and my trading in my TA is just the best that I could make in a couple of years. Let me take you to this data here, and this is the Bitcoin illiquid supply change. Okay, and on the March crash, as I mentioned to you, we had that super fast decline in distribution, okay, after the sell off. And as you all know, after the March crash, Bitcoin did very fucking well, right? And right now, we're returning to a huge point of accumulation. The last point of accumulation was around $40,000. And what are we seeing on the Bitcoin price action right now? Have you seen what happened to crude oil? I've been telling in my channel here that crude oil is the right now the greatest thermometer of the entire market structure, right? At least for the Occident, not the Orient, the Occident, right? Especially because crude oil is has a dollar relation, right? The price of crude oil is set up in dollars and nothing else. You know, the Rothschild family managed to do that because of their American banks, and that's a conspiracy subject that I'm not going to get into right now. But as you can see, what's going on with Bitcoin right now is that holders are holding, and that's it. Bitcoin is quite of a unique asset because it makes no sense for you to hold on papers of a company that's not performing well. It makes no sense because when a company is not performing very well and your assets lose value and your shares start losing value, it means that the company is not doing great and the company can just break, and then nothing's going to happen. Bitcoin's kind of a very unique, interesting asset. And this is the reason why the governments are starting to regulate it, but they're thinking on how they're going to regulate it because they are fucking profiting out of this market. The Fed is, big institutions are, and a lot of rich billionaire people are starting to see, hey, this is something else. But I'm gonna set my love for cryptocurrency aside, and I'm not going to be a moon girl that will think that Bitcoin is just going to go up forever, because it won't. And you see that it won't, right? It's a highly volatile asset. But right now, right, this asset is not showing any signs that's going to crash like it crashed previously, because that was profit taking from big institutions that pumped the price and then took profits. And what's left? The holders are left. And I'm not going to sell shit. I'm buying Bitcoin. Are you going to sell your Bitcoin right now? Because that would be very, very fucking stupid, unless that you bought for $7,000. But if you're holding since $7,000, $2,000, why the fuck would you sell right now? If you sold on $60,000, you had very good job. So when it's time to buy again, I would say fucking now. But you know, who the fuck am I? Going back to Bitcoin volume, this is a very special, super beautiful colored volume data that I just found on a group. Thank you very much to that Telegram group. It's called Whale Born Reborn Whale Crew Cramp Group of Whales whatever. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm sharing the data without asking for permission, but you fucking don't allow people to speak on your channel. So, anyways, there you go. And you see that we don't actually have a lot of volume to go anywhere right now, is even for the downside. Okay, so that's just like that's the beginning of my video. Start with the Bitcoin chart so you have an idea of what I'm talking about, and then I'm gonna actually first I'm going to show you what went on with crude oil, right? Why did crude oil take this dump? Why is crude oil struggling to, just go back to the uptrend that we had? And this is where we are, right? The crude oil had a very, very big increase on its price, and they claimed, okay, the oil empire The few families from Saudi Arabia and the Bushes and the Rockefellers, they claim that the crude oil price was pumping up like that because the demand was going lower and lower because of the pandemic. A balloon. It was just a form to prop up the energy sector and the stock markets, especially after the March crash. All right, so they made a deal to make a crude oil price lower, and right after that deal, we had this clown show, and crude oil just did that. So the relation of crude oil with the stock markets. Okay, if you don't know, you need to watch my videos a little bit more because I've been telling you about it for a very long time. Crude oil is highly related to the stock markets. But what I want to show you here is that despite of that crash crude oil had, that we know that those types of deals don't last long, as my best buddy said, and they're trying to get the price more affordable so you can get in, and then just keep pumping the price up. That's what I think is going to keep happening. And then you saw stocks having a very bullish candle right after. Okay, so two things here. Stop and think with me. Beware, because the stock markets are now getting into a danger zone. What happened right here? What happened right here? This happened. And what's happening for the last 10 years? That is happening, okay? Beware, every time we go up, we have, and we go down, on the every correction that we have on the markets, we have to pay attention if we're going to start forming lower lows and lower highs, okay? But this is a daily time frame. You have to beware. It's going to take you a bunch of days until you get to know. At least I want you to observe three consecutive lower lows and lower highs until you start to think that we are getting into a bear market. Okay? Because right now, I personally don't think we are. And I think that crude oil can even lose this support here, but it's going to recover. So let's take a look how crude oil is doing, because that's what I want you to understand before you start trading Bitcoin like a motherfucker. Okay, and that's also because I am looking at these charts every day, and every time I come to see my charts, I start recording to try to be able to record a video per day. So volume and price spread are still very negative for the 12-hour chart crude oil, but we're seeing that there is a lot of volatility, especially because of the crash that we had. And the DMI, how is the DMI right here? Let's take a look. The DMI is also very negative, but we're starting to see the sell pressure decrease a little bit on the 12-hour, and we have some uncertainty candles for 24 hours straight. Okay, so we don't know if we're losing that support on crude oil, but I don't think we will. Okay, the buy sell trend is an indicator that I use, and it's very fucking useful, and it's made by a Brazilian guy, and you can run it on TradingView. So just look for it, buy sell trend for Marcelo Torres, and there's just a set of EMAs that's going to tell you the prospect of the future. Okay, so what I can see right now, let me change colors because I don't know if you were seeing that very well. What we see here is that the price line is below all of the other lines, and that doesn't happen very often, and when it happens, it just don't stay here for a very long time. So what's going to happen very shortly is that the price line is going to cross above the signal line, and we have the very short trend going down here, but that EMA here is still right here, and the long term trend is this orange one, and we're just crossing below it, and I don't think this is going to be sustainable for very long. Okay, so in any case, keep an eye on crude oil, and if you see crude oil going higher, don't stop yourself from buying cryptocurrencies. I am not stopping myself from buying it. If they keep going lower, I will keep accumulating. That's my game. When I see dips on this market, with the structure that this market has been having for the last 10 years, including a fucking pandemic that made that March crash, and right after the stocks and every other markets are just going up, I don't think that this is going to stop out of a sudden right now. Okay, I still think that we have a lot of room to go up before we start going down. There's a lot of things that we common people don't know, but there is stuff that I suspect that's not leading their stock markets to a major crash or a bear market right now. I still think that cryptocurrencies can get to at least $80,000 levels. Okay, I'm buying the dips. It's dipping further. I'm buying further, and that's how I've been doing. I will only sell when the price reaches my goals. That's how I do. That's how I've been doing. That's how it's working for me. So now let me take you to a trip on my Dixie chart. Okay, I want to show you some very good idea that someone published on TradingView. I love to go on ideas of forex traders because having an idea what's going on with the Dixie, the dollar index, and some special pairs like the euro dollar pair will give you a very perspective on where the economy is going and subsequently where the cryptocurrencies are going. Okay, because when you buy cryptocurrencies, you are betting against the inflation. You were at least like you were hedging your position against your own fiat holding. Okay, because you work your ass off and you make money, cash, you make cash, you receive cash, and then when you turn your cash into cryptocurrencies, you're betting against that. But when the time of selling comes for cryptocurrencies, and that you should no longer buy the dips because they will keep falling. This is going to happen. This is going to happen because look at me. We have a stock markets and everything going up for 10 years, and then we have a cryptocurrency market going up for 10 years as well. Okay, cryptocurrencies will get into a bear market. They will. Don't be surprised because they will, but when? Okay, I can't, nobody can tell you, oh, it's going to happen on 2030, on 2032, on 2026. But what we can tell, I've been studying that a fucking lot, and look at that. When you see the dollar index going stronger and you see another sign, that's the bonds, okay? The bonds going higher, okay? They will spike because what does that mean? When the bonds go lower, it means that people are trying to find security. Okay, so because this is the like people investing on the national treasury, okay, and people investing in the, okay, so this is like money trying to get secured. So if you see that spiking like a motherfucker and you see that the dollar going higher as a motherfucker as well, okay, that I've learned from a trading master. It's one of my favorite guys. You go to his YouTube channel and you take a look at Gregory Manarino's channel, then you will have a very good perspective. And this is one of the things that he's been saying for a very long time. The bonds will go down and the dollar will go up, and then it's time to sell everything. It's time to get out of the markets. It's time to do that. But as in, what do we see here? We see multiple. This is the bonds, okay? Check on that. We see multiple bear divergences, okay? So it's just going up, it's going up, it's going up with multiple bear divergences on the RSI. Right now it's extremely low. We can see a final spike right here because we have a decline these days. We can see a final spike. We can see the dollar spiking up a little bit, but in my opinion, it's facing a lot of resistance here because every time it tries to break up those levels, it just can't. It fails, okay? So what do I believe? I believe that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will rebound. From here, we are going to reach levels such as $80,000, and by then, if we reach those levels and when we reach those levels, you have to have your eyes fucking open because me personally, I'm going to sell and I'm going to get out of the crypto market at those levels. If I see that happen, if I see the dollar becoming stronger and the bonds spiking, then I'm out because go here. This is the Federal Reserve balance sheet. And as long as this thing keeps going higher, the stock markets are keep going higher as well. Okay, and this is where we are right now. When you see the balance sheet going down, then you're going to see the stock markets going down. Okay, and it's so not only the stock markets, there are a lot of assets that you can go ahead and buy the dip. And I would really recommend things like gold. I would recommend even longing crude oil right now. could be a good idea, but I haven't done any analysis on crude oil right now because I actually don't invest in crude. I just use it as a thermometer for what can happen on that week, on the subsequent weeks. But I'm super convinced that we're seeing that thing dipping. Okay, I'm super convinced. We can even reach lower levels, 24, 26. But what's good is that the price is not just going down like super fast because there is not enough volume. There are not enough wallets willing to sell great sums of Bitcoin. Because if that's not fake news, and I'm going to research right now, the Rothschild investment just bought a bunch of Bitcoin. Okay, so let me try to find that. That I don't know if it's a like a trustful source of information, but that's what I heard. And the Rothschild Investment Corp has increased its Bitcoin exposure by 300% since April. Okay, so they're buying at these levels. Okay, they're buying at these levels. So guys, those people are not fucking stupid cunts. They're not stupid cunts. Okay, and that's all I have to say. I'm bullish at the moment. There will come a time when I will be bearish at cryptocurrency.